A very good morning to everyone, and welcome to Ge-Shen Corporation Berhad's Corporate and Q2 Financial Year 2021's results and corporate presentation. I'm Chris from Image Jiwa, the IR consultant for Ge-Shen Corporation Berhad. Today we have with us Mr. Shaun Chan, the Managing Director of Ge-Shen, and Mr. Louis Lau, Executive Director of Ge-Shen Corporation Berhad. Today's result briefing is part of Bursa Malaysia's Investor Relations and Public Relations project for selected listed companies. The IR and PR project is aimed to improve the visibility and accessibility of participating PLCs via a more active IR engagements with the investment community. For the first phase of the project, Image Jiwa Communications has been appointed as a third-party IR firm to train and educate participating PLCs to conduct effective IR engagements. The selected companies for this program are PLCs that are less accessible to analysts and investors, but highly in demand based on the feedback received from the investment community. We wish to thank Ge-Shen Corporation Berhad for participating in this project. The recording of the investor briefing and presentation slides will be made available for all on Bursa Malaysia Institutional Insights portal after this event. Without further ado, I now pass the floor over to Louis, who will bring you through today's briefing. Over to you, Louis.
Thank you, Chris. So first of all, I think I would like to thank Bursa and Image Jiwa for this opportunity for us to present ourselves. I think so far over the past couple of years, we have not done any analyst briefing or any public presentation like this. And I think it's quite a interesting project which Bursa Malaysia is trying to undertake to bring up profiles of small listed companies like ourselves. This is the first time that Ge-Shen is doing this, and I thank all of you for attending this briefing. Of course, I think during this during this COVID-19 pandemic time, everything is online, and I think this allows for greater participation as well without traveling. I hope everybody continue to stay safe and wish everybody best of health. Okay, so I would do a very quick introduction to the company and the business overview. A bit of financial highlights and why I think, or why we think Ge-Shen requires a certain look at. The company itself was listed on Bursa in 2004 on the main market. We have been having been listed for quite a number of years. We haven't really gone out to market ourselves, but I think over the last couple of years has been quite a transformative change when Shaun and myself came in the business. We still continue to focus on developing the core business, which is the design development, technology-driven manufacturing. And we are currently presently operating out of the Southeast Asian region. Our headquarters is in KL, but all our factories are actually outside of KL, specifically in Penang, in Johor, and in Vietnam. We have got a small sales office based out of Singapore, and KL only supports on the head office, finance, IT sort of functions. Today, we manufacture products used in various different business sectors, mainly in the medical, life science, industrial applications, consumer electronics, home and lifestyle. I'll go into a bit more details later on. But our core competency is basically contract manufacturing in mold design, metal stamping, injection molding, surface finishing, spray painting, and we're going into the box build and assembly for our customers. I won't go into the details of our history, but I think this page basically illustrates the journey that we have had. After being listed on Berhad in 2004, there has been some pockets of growth, but really only over the last 5 years, after certain M&As, we acquired Polyplus, acquired Demand Option, then there are a lot of capex being put into organic growth. Myself, I'm the executive director of the company. Shaun, who is here with us, he's the managing director, and we are supported by 4 other independent non-executive directors. Okay, coming to our core competency and what we do, basically, our focus is to bring customers' idea to life. As contract manufacturers, we don't have our own products. So we view ourselves as an extension of the manufacturing arm of all our customers today. So therefore, I think the engineering services and the manufacturing services is very important. We have to give uncompromised experience to our customers, because they are the ones who face the end customers, consumers like yourself and myself. We provide the manufacturing solutions for them in all our facilities. Our core competency in injection molding, metal fabrication, surface finishing, assembly, and complete assembly and packaging. These are the core competency that we have in our 4 facilities. And in areas where we don't have this competency or this manufacturing capability, we help our customers source them, things like electronic components or PCBA and so on and so forth. So we play a very important role in our customers' product life cycle. And of course, during this pandemic, when certain goods are in high demand and customers can't come from US or from Europe, that we play an even more important role, because we hold that responsibility to ensure that we can manufacture for them on a timely basis. As I mentioned before, we are manufacturing out of 4 different facilities. Today, we have 203 injection molding machines and 78 metal fabrication machines. So this main core capability is, we supplement it with all the other secondary processes and finishing capabilities to support our customers. Our industry coverage today, now our revenue breakdown is a little bit more equal across 4 or 5 different segments. We produce products or components for these 4 or 5 industries: home and lifestyle, industrial, office automation, and data storage, medical and life science, and home audio units. I will show the breakdown of these sales a bit later on, but our aim is to be able to have a more diversified customer base, so that when one doesn't do well, at least the other ones will probably do well or still maintain a more stable revenue stream. I mentioned about our core capabilities before. I think as contract manufacturers, it's very important for us to develop good internal capabilities, because this is the only way for us to support our customers. And capabilities is something that we have to continue to develop and invest in. A lot of work goes into improving our current capabilities to ensure that we can keep up with the newer technology or increased demand for quality by our customers. Being a global manufacturer, certification and sustainability is very important. We meet a lot of ISO standards, and the challenge is always to continuously improve ourselves and to get more certification to meet customer demand. Very recently, also, in our Penang facility, we got the FDA registered facility, and this is an example of how getting the customer is a challenge, but we have to get the customers. We have to work with them, develop certain products that they require, and then go for registration and get certified. And I think it is always a continuous process to get more and more of this certification, because it helps us develop certain competitive advantage against other people. On sustainability side, again, also very important, because I think with a lot of consumer-facing products, being sustainable is very important today. Our customers demand that of us, but also I think nowadays investors also demand that of us. So we have developed a internal policy to have sustainable development goals. I think one of which we decided to go ahead this year is to, for example, put on solar panels on our factory roof, and that will help save not only cost but also a lot of reduction in CO2. Okay, moving on to the financial overview. As I mentioned before, we try to diversify our business sectors. Today, I think industrial sector forms up to 43% of our revenue last year. The other segments like office automation and home and lifestyle, and also audio products, still continue to be very important, and they provide quite sustainable revenue. Medical used to be very small and in the overall group sales breakdown, but it is a sector which is growing quite strongly currently and moving forward. Being a LMW company, we basically do local exports to other contract manufacturers in Malaysia or Southeast Asia, or we do direct exports to US and Europe as well. A bit of a quick financial overview. Last year, we recorded 196 million in sales, representing a 23% increase from the preceding year, 2019. And I think the increase in sales despite the pandemic and disruption was attributed from the increase in customer orders, as well as the ability for us to obtain new customers. On a quarterly comparison basis, in comparison to the second quarter of last year, our second quarter results this year registered an increase of 115% increase, mainly because of the stronger customer pipeline and new projects entering mass production, but also because last year was rather disrupted in the second quarter when Malaysia had the first MCO. On a half-yearly basis, our revenue has increased by about 92%. Again, we registered quite a strong first quarter this year as well. By geographical segment, Malaysia represents about 84% of all revenue, with Vietnam the 16%. I think both Malaysia and Vietnam is currently registering quite strong growth, so this number will fluctuate a little bit. For PBT, PAT, and PATMI, I think overall, I think it has been quite encouraging this year, despite being impacted by the pandemic also this year. But I think we are currently registering positive growth for all three matrices. We hope that the increase in profitability, of course, can be attributed to the higher volume over the last couple of months. In the second quarter specifically, in April and May, we registered quite encouraging profitability. Unfortunately, in June, there was certain disruption in the second half of the month. On a quarterly basis, over the last 8 quarters or so, I think especially over the last 4 quarters, we have been registering positive profitability, which has been very encouraging, and we hope that this foundation will help us navigate through over the next following quarters. Second quarter, again, I think, it was fairly disrupted as well in the second half of the quarter. Otherwise, we would have likely met or surpassed the highest quarterly sales that we registered in the fourth quarter of last year, which is 70.5 million. I don't think I will go through in specific details. I think these are also announced. But otherwise, I think from an overall perspective, our total assets today stands at 263 million with total equity of 110 million. Our net gearing is about 0.6 times with gross gearing of about 0.7 times. Okay, key investment highlights. Today we have diversified product offerings with strong order demand. Having the different capabilities and having wider capabilities, which we have developed over the last couple of years, basically help us to provide that one-stop solution to our customers. We have spent quite a lot of time doing business development work, and that has translated into sales over the last year or so. And we continue to work with our customers and look for potential customers, continue growing our business. Being diversified with different customer base in consumer, electronics, industrial, medical, and life sciences also help us navigate through this pandemic quite well, because when something goes down, something else goes up. Over the last couple of years, we have done a lot of CapEx. For example, this year we have got an additional certified 100K clean room and control room in both Johor and Penang. This helped us to get more customers in the medical industry and food-related industry. We always look at CapEx from an ROI perspective, and we only invest where we think we will be able to very quickly generate sales or profitability. So I think we are starting to see the fruits of those investments. This year also, I think we find that the growth opportunities exist in the medical segment and food-related segment. So these CapEx are starting to show a positive result. Having the increased capacity by 20% in our Johor facility and 10% in Penang, we hope that this can further translate into further sales. We focus a lot on business development and being adaptive. I think our customers are wide-ranging from US, European, Japanese customers. We hope that with the opening up of the Western economies, that we are able to secure even more customers, and our existing customers' volume will continue to increase. I think the aim is, of course, to sustain that growth in the next couple of quarters and in the near future. Our management team are qualified and experienced. That turn around from the last couple of years where we registered a net loss. I think this team has helped the company to turn it around and sustain profits over the last couple of quarters. Moving forward, I think this is well covered in our quarterly announcement as well. I think the pandemic has pandemic has taken much turn. It was somewhat okay for a while. Then over the last 2 months has been quite challenging. I think we have to continue to remain cautious on the health and safety of all our employees. I think I expect that there will be more disruptions moving forward as this Delta variant comes to Malaysia and Vietnam. However, I think we continue to encourage all our employees to get vaccination as soon as possible. A way we can help them, like for example, PCAS, we get them to sign up for this so that we can get stability soon. But otherwise, for us, from the management side, we continue to look at ways for us to secure new projects, to engage with potential new customers from countries where we cannot even go to at this moment. Yeah, we have to balance between our time between the two, managing the issues of today and to look for new businesses moving forward. Here we also have listed our solar project, which we're quite excited about. This capex has been delayed for a while now because of the pandemic, but otherwise, we have signed up, and we are expecting our vendors to help us install them once the MCO is lifted. Okay, that's it. Chris, over to you.
Thank you, Luis, for the very insightful presentation, and also congratulations on your robust quarterly financial performance. With that, we now open the floor to Q&A. You may unmute your mic, speak up, or you could type it in the chat box. Maybe I'll just kickstart the Q&A session. I mean, I wanted to check, I think you have described a bit about how COVID has affected your business, but I just wanted to know whether do you have any factory shutdown during the COVID-19 pandemic, or is there any disruption in your operations caused by the pandemic?
Sorry. I think last week we made an announcement. Our Penang plant was asked to shut down by KKM, mainly because there were quite a number of our employees getting sick, and subsequently we did quite a fair bit of RTK tests, and they were positive. So we reported to the authorities, and they came and they said, it's better to shut down. So we had that shut down. We are starting to see, that there are a bit of disruption in our other factories as well. Pockets of people getting sick and things like that. So, enforcing SOP and ensuring that people quarantine themselves is very, very important. But I don't know when this will stop, but I do hope that with our enforcement of SOP and sanitization and all the things that we are doing to prevent the spread, that it will not continue to happen again.
Okay. But is your factory experiencing like capacity constraint for labor, maybe like 60% or 80% of workforce can only work?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is challenging because I think, there is a reason why we need 100% of our labor.
Yep.
Customer demand is obviously there. So being capped at 60% means we really have to be more efficient, be more productive. Getting our workers to work with SOPs and things like that, of course, has certain impact on productivity and efficiency as well. So we just have to be more innovative and adapt to the nature of the environment at this moment.
Okay. Yep. I think Sichai has raised his hand. Sichai, you want to go ahead with your questions?
Yeah, hi. Good morning. This is Sichai here from OpenSpark. Whether it's Chan or this Luis, can you share with us, because the first time talking to you, what happened? Some history in say 2018, when we see massive downturns for the company, and what was the customer structure, also called composition back then, or product composition back then versus now? What has changed? This is the first question. Yeah.
Okay, I think back then in 2017, 2018, our customer concentration was much larger. If I'm not mistaken, the top 5 customers was something like 80-90% of our overall revenue. We were also very concentrated in the home audio business, so that formed about 70-80% of our overall sales. So that was 2017, 2018. So then, when home audio business came down globally, I think there was a ramp up, globally in the home audio business, but then it sort of reached that level and came down. We started doing a lot of business development work to diversify our customer base into different customer segments.
Okay, so there was a reason that we see a decline in profitability in the 2018-19 because of home audio segment.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you share with us currently, either who are your major customer top 5 or their revenue contributions, or what kind of products are you producing?
Unfortunately, due to NDA, we can't reveal our customers. But I think, if you base on our annual report, our largest customer is something like 20-something% of overall revenue. So that actually, more than 5-6 years ago, the largest customer used to be 70-80%. Now the largest customer is 20-something%. And we are constantly trying to grow the second, third, fourth customer. So the number fluctuates on a month-to-month or quarterly basis. But otherwise, on a overall annually basis, we are trying to have more customers and basically diversify away from just one single largest customer.
Okay, we understand this from trying to stabilize the volatility point of view. But it will be helpful if you can share with us exactly what kind of products are you making. Let's say for the top 3 or 5 customers, so we can have a better understanding of what are your capabilities and also where are you heading. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe perhaps we can prepare something for the next time round. Chris, what's your?
No, you can just talk about the products. Like there must be certain products that contribute the.
Okay, like our largest customer, it is an industrial product. That contributes 20-something% of overall group revenue annually. Second largest.
But what kind of industrial product is very wide? It's like what do you producing? Yeah.
I'm not sure if I am able to go into more specifics lah.
I think I can. Can I add in here? I think being in Johor, you would guess who is the major customer lah.
No, because the major customer in Johor we will treat them as a consumer electronics, but then you are talking about industrial, right?
No, industrial is different. Industrial customer is a direct box build customer from the US.
So what application is it? Is it what kind of applications are they? They are in the but industrial is very wide. Are you talking about machineries kind of industrial, or talking about?
You can say it is in everyday consumer durable, but it is used within the consumer durable segment, but it is actually an industrial application. So it's very specific, and we're probably one of the only few manufacturers for this customer in the world. So we have very strict NDA governing us from reviewing any more on that, because it's a technologically advanced product.
All right. And how about the second or third or fourth products category? Or what kind of products are you making?
Luis, you want to take that?
Okay. Consumer electronics segment in the home and lifestyle product and office automation product as well.
So because for your office automation, is it about hard disks or is it about printers or what?
There are certain products which relates to those. Yes.
Yeah, but I think, Sichai, can I just come in and mention that we are a manufacturing, we are contract manufacturing. So we are almost industry agnostic. We do not own the products. We do not design the products. We work on the manufacturing process with the customer. So we are a manufacturing platform. And again, I'd like to emphasize, we are actually industry agnostic. And our capability is to manufacture the parts up to the customer's requirement, you know. So this broad categorization is needed, is shown just for guidance rather than any specific capability, you know.
I understand. Okay, so how about this? You have metal stamping and so-called sheet metal expertise, and also these plastics. What are the so-called breakdown in terms of revenue, and also the customer? Do they overlap in these two, or is a very distinct customer base?
Overall basis, I think our metal stamping side contributes about 25% of revenue. Customers, some do overlap, but I would say a majority of them do not. Only certain small customers where there is certain overlap.
So your metal stamping customer, who are they, or what are the industry or products they are in?
For the metal side, we're doing quite a fair bit of industrial customers. So you can imagine very large form factors, metal boxes and chassis and things like that.
Again, we are
Yeah.
industry agnostic in the metal business as well. We are generally industry agnostic, except for example medical. Then in that case, then there is certain developed capabilities within the medical to do with the qualification process, the measurement processes, and things like that. You know, otherwise, you know, it's pretty agnostic. It doesn't mean that there is a core competency. If you make printers, it doesn't mean that there's a core competency which is extended across the board. You know, it's more like we can make plastic casings. Similarly for metal as well. You know.
I understand that. I'm just trying to look at your products, trying to understand how the outlooks like into the future, and also your products. While you say industry agnostic, but then we can see that you are trying to become a bit more specialized and trying to have not to have customer concentrations, which is actually trying to differentiate. So back to metal stamping, can I say that the first half margin is higher? Can I say a big part is due to the metal stamping side of the business margins has gone up quite a lot, that help a lot to your group as compared to your plastic side?
No.
Is that what you see?
No. It's generally actually at the end of the day, a lot of it is to do with volume, because upon a certain level of overhead having been absorbed, a certain level of sales, the overheads absorption is done, and then the incremental revenue has a large incremental impact on margins. It's about volume.
Okay. Last question for me. On your medical side, can you be more specific on what you can share with us? Like, is it more of a medical equipment or medical consumables, or is why does it require class 100Ks, and why do you need to build two class 100K in two different factories rather than consider it into one? Yeah, what are you seeing in the medical that give you all the confidence to charge ahead with two clean room?
I think we do both medical consumables and medical devices. Medical devices volume are generally much lower, whereas consumables are much larger. Some of them are single use and things like that. Why do we have both? I think first and foremost, of course, is customer demand. If we see that there is a customer demand and certain competitive advantage that we are able to get, then we will consider the investment. So, you know, for us, I think, in Johor, we are seeing certain customer demand. specific to the Johor region, and also because we were doing the renovation, we put in control rooms also for medical slash food related customers.
All right, I should let others ask questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Shaun, how are
Yes.
you, man? Haven't seen you for a long time, you know? Yeah.
Sorry, who is that?
Hey, Franklin here, Franklin. Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Yeah. Hey, three questions, bro. Going back to this slide here, which division will be one of the key divisions the next 3 to 5 years? We are 5 year. Number two, this is number one question. Number two, the client in Johor, how much was the contribution in terms of revenue this quarter compared to 3 years ago? And what kind of capex? Because I joined late. What kind of capex the next 1-2 years that you're going to do? Yeah, thanks a lot.
Luis?
Yeah. So the first question again.
First question is that out of these 5 sectors in your industry coverage, which will be the darling sectors, the next, will be the one that, shine, Yeah.
I would say there are opportunities in all of them. I mean, except for audio, which I don't know if it will be the darling sector. I think it will still continue to be stable as what it is today. But in terms of growth, I see that we will be able to register growth in the 4 other sectors. Each customer that we have, of course, is unique, and there are a lot of growth opportunities in each of the customers that we work on. There are specific reasons which we can't disclose, why we choose to continue developing with these customers. Obviously, I think we are sector agnostic, but I think the thing is we have to make an active effort to pursue certain customers and to develop and grow with them. The second question was, how much was the revenue contribution from the customer in Johor, is it?
Yeah, it was, frankly.
Yeah, the revenue cost contribution from the Johor customer that you say that is unique in consumer electronics, however. But then the thing is that what's the contribution, and then 3 years ago, what was the contribution?
I think contribution, if I lump, if I were put a rough aggregate, I think it's something like 15% of our group revenue for 2020. With the same amount of sales that they contribute, say 5 years ago, it would be 0 or close to 0.
Okay.
Yeah. And third one on capex, I think we have spent something like more than 170 million in terms of capex over the last 5 to 6 years. A lot of that was building the foundations to develop these customers and to develop our facilities to meet certain standards. Whether or not it will be as much, I don't know. I can't say. But I think when we find certain opportunities or when there are certain bottlenecks, we will consider continue investing. Contract manufacturing especially is one of those where if we look to develop and look to grow with our customers, there are always opportunities there. We must be willing, able, and committed to invest and grow with our customers. Okay.
Yeah, I think we have some question from Paul Yap from CLSA.
Hi. Yep. Just now you talked about revenues for the quarter being driven by economic recovery as well as some ramp up of new products. And if not for the MCO, then you could have seen like record revenues. So just wondering, if we put the MCO aside and assuming that all of your products have been fully ramped, what kind of revenue run rate can we expect? And what's the utilization rate of your existing factories?
Utilization rate varies across the 4 factories. Some were operating at 50, 60, you know, bear in mind we have the MCO as well. Even with the disruption, even without the disruption, sorry, the MCO was still in Malaysia and we are capped at 60%. So we have to operate at 60% maximum capacity lah. So our machine capacity and things like that is of course lower than that. The other one is Vietnam. We're operating at, we are allowed to operate at 100% capacity. Overall utilization is something like 60%, 70% as well. So there are still room for revenue growth.
But I would add that, you know, we cannot project to 81. You know, the plant will die. We normally run it up to max, you know, 65, 70, and that's kind of like peak already. 75 can, but not continuously for too long.
Okay. And for the new products, have they been fully ramped up? And yeah, what kind of run rate in terms of revenue can we expect once they are fully ramped up?
I think I'm not allowed to give forward-looking statements, right, Chris? I'm not sure if I'm able to be more specific than what was mentioned already.
So okay, so basically you're at 60% right now, and based on existing capacity, probably there's another 5 to 10% room to increase lah, until the new expansion plan kicks in. Is that the right way to read it?
Yeah, I mean 10-15% additional from where we are. I mean, in a very good month where everybody is operating, I mean that should be achievable.
Okay. And tell us more about your forward outlook. You talked about wanting to go into box build. Currently, do you do any box build? What's the percentage of your box build revenues? And is it for like your existing customers, you know, asking you to explore going to box build, i.e. the industrial product guy, or the other, I think, home and lifestyle guy? Yeah, maybe a bit more color on that. And also you've also talked about having a new clean room facility. So yeah, I just wanted to get also a bit more indication what kind of products you're planning to do there as well.
On box build, we were quite fortunate that, you know, I mean to go into a new capabilities and to be able to qualify is obviously a challenge. Box build, we were quite fortunate that the customer was very patient with us, and they were looking for capabilities outside of China, and so is a lot of other customers today. We were quite fortunate that you know we work hand in hand with the customer and develop the box build capability. I think, you know, we are through this, we are able to convince and impress many other customers to qualify us for box build. It is a process. It is a very long process. There are a lot of intricacies in each different products. So, you know, we are actively trying to do a bit more for our customers. We are engaging with our existing customers to say, hey, why not try us? You know, we are developing these capabilities. We have the willingness to invest. But a lot of times also, you know, we need to have ready facilities, and we have to have the people ready. So we have to balance in between being overly aggressive and overly enthusiastic about it. But also at the same time, we have to continue to develop capabilities internally to ensure that we are able to meet the demands of our customers tomorrow. The second one was medical 100K clean room, right? 100K clean room, I think, because we have a specific customer who required it, required the 100K clean room capability. So then we decided to develop and of course, with that, we are able to market to a lot more other customers. So far, it has been quite encouraging because having this specific capability would it helps us to be able to market better.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
We have a question on the chat box from Sam. Inventories written down are relatively high in Q2 21 and Q4 20. What is the reason for the write-down, and will this continue to happen in subsequent quarters at this level, or will it be lesser?
Okay, on inventories, we do have an internal policy for impairment for slow-moving and obsolete inventories. Basically, we go through our inventories and to review them. If they are obsolete, then we will do certain provisions for slow-moving goods. Will this happen to continue? I think, hopefully no. We do have internal policy on ensuring that we don't overstock our inventory. Sometimes we have to because of certain customer demand or safety stock that our customer require us to have. Sometimes they take liability, sometimes they don't. So it really depends on the specific scenarios. Will it continue to happen? Maybe, but hopefully not in the same quantities as before.
Okay. Then another follow-up question would be, inventories level has increased by about 6 million from Q1 to Q2, totaling about 42 million, and is the highest in the company history. Is this increase in inventory level to cater for increasing order in all industries product, or only specifically to one or two industries?
On inventory level, second quarter, I think it was high. I think for a couple of specific reasons. But generally, inventory is high because, of course, there is a demand from the customer side. We have to build. We have to buy raw materials. We have to build stock. But also bear in mind that the second half of June was very, very disrupted, where there were certain disruption in Malaysia, and many of our customers were also affected because of the pandemic. So we continued to build certain inventory, certain stock ahead of time. Another reason is also because the higher inventories level is required because of the supply chain constraint globally, where a lot of materials are either short supply or they have very, very long lead times. So we are, unfortunately, we have to build a bit more buffer stock.
Okay. Thank you. I think from the floor, Ge-Shen, you have a question. Ge-Shen.
Okay, thanks. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of skill benefits in this kind of business. And I think Shaun used the word volumes, but I guess it means the same thing. This will give you, once you have skill, it give you, make you more competitive in bids, procurement, hire workers, setting up factories, expanding your capital base to support higher working capital and invest in fixed assets and so on. So in that regard, I'd like to ask you a few questions in relation to this. One, as investors and not the major shareholder, your minority shareholders obviously love it if you can ramp up faster. But obviously, you know, this is not using your own money. You are more heavily vested and competent than this, and you have to balance between the risk of ramping up and finding a customer abandoned at some point in time, or you're not ready for it. What's your thinking in terms of what's a reasonable pace to ramp up production to get the kind of scale, and how far are we for you from that kind of scale which will make you more competitive?
Scale is elusive. Is a elusive concept. There's always room for greater scale. Jerry Goh would tell you that, you know, it's never big enough. So, you know, Elon Musk is about scale. And so what is right scale for one customer is probably not right for another customer. So I think you're right in saying that, you know, for us, the important matrix is scale give us volume, and volume give us, if it's manufactured correctly with defects under control or rejects under control, we will be able to derive cash flow out of it. One of the things that you would notice is that the EBITDA of the company has been strong and growing strong. And I think that is one of the main things that one should look at in terms of, you know, where the scalability is. We have to keep the risk is obviously risk of customer issue, risk of over concentration, risk of financial over leverage, and things like that. So these are all the multitude of factors which play in to our mind. You know, on hand, we have a customer now who want us to scale up more. And it's always a question of how do we scale up more, you know, and without taking on too much risk. And there's no formula. It's just how it is, and the overall balancing is constantly done, you know. I mean, as a digression, and perhaps as a follow-on from that, is the fact that the global manufacturing capability and capacity is heavily dominated by China. And that is probably something which I think the rest of the world would like to see changed a bit. And, you know, Malaysia is a very small percentage of that global manufacturing footprint. And so technically, Malaysia can double and double again, you know, and yet there is still not enough scale in Malaysia. There are certain issues specific to Malaysia that we have to address. But however, you know, there really is quite a fair bit of opportunity out there. It's a question of how much risk do we take to get that opportunity.
Can I follow another question? It's good that you are starting with a high capital base of 67% or so. And if you want to grow this business, inevitably, as an individual shareholder and not an institution, you may have to bring in additional capital, resulting in dilution to yourself. What level of dilution would you feel comfortable with? Is it a necessity that you must maintain control more than 50% of this company?
No, show me a customer who can 5 times the sales of this company, you know. You know, we are always listening. You know, you want to, if a customer comes in and say that, you know, I mean, one customer, we might have certain single customer risk, but no, we are willing to do, you know, equity deals to facilitate, you know, large-scale industrial manufacturing platform coming in, and who can ensure our growth, who can bring orders, who can bring technology, bring capability, bring people and management skill set and all that kind of stuff, you know. So control is not an issue.
Okay. And
never was. Yeah.
Finally, when you what's the process of securing orders? Do you bid for them? Do you negotiate for them? Do you cold call? Are you invited?
All of the above. all of the above. We go on trade fairs. I think people coming to our website, we cold call them. We do everything to impress the customer, short of dancing naked in the rain.
Obviously, there are a few easy screenings of potential customers. They look at maybe the top 50, top 100 EMS companies in the world, in Malaysia, maybe industrial applications, what have you. Are you starting to see a bit more cold calling or invitation instead of, sorry, are you starting to see a bit more invitation as opposed to cold calling in the past?
I think there are a lot of people who are always interested, but what we are seeing is a little bit more laser focus. In the initial Donald Trump days, there were a lot of everything coming in. Potential customer were calling us as opposed to us calling them. But now, things have a little bit stabilized and the makeup is a little bit different. I think what is slightly frustrating for my colleagues is the inability to go out to meet with customers, because there are a lot of pent-up demand in the US side who wants to either have components made up from Southeast Asia, ship over there for final assembly, or sourcing away from China and things like that. There is still very much, and even in the European market as well, there is still quite a lot of potential which we can't really scratch at because of this pandemic issue.
Okay, thanks, Shaun.
Okay, thanks, Ge-Shen.
There's a question from Ian Wan as well from the floor. Ian.
Hi, Shaun and Luis. Thanks. I must say congratulations for the successful turnaround first. I've been following the company for some years, seeing all the up and down. Two questions from me. First question is I noticed in your annual report you mentioned you're going to invest in a new land for capacity expansion this year. I just wonder whether you guys have made up the decision that we'll go ahead with this investment. From the annual report, if I'm not mistaken, the current floor space is about 500,000 square feet. If you are going into a new plant, what kind of capacity are you looking at in terms of floor space? The second question is about the customers in terms of the 5 segments that you have broken down. Is it safe to assume this home care and the industrial will be the key growth driver for the company in the next 3 years? Yeah, that's all from my side.
Shaun, you want to take it or?
No, you go ahead, Luis.
Okay, on land, group wide we have 4 pieces of land which can be developed. This year we are in the process of acquiring 1 piece of land which is adjoining our Johor facility. The purpose of that purchase, first and foremost, because it was adjoining, so it makes perfect sense for us to acquire it. But I think for us, we need more warehouse space and we need more manufacturing space. So it makes a lot of sense for us to do the capex. We are forever looking for more capacity and more space so that we can continue to ramp up with our customers across the group. On the question about is it home and lifestyle? No, it's not just home and lifestyle customers. They are as I mentioned before, the 4 different industries have very good potential across the board.
Yeah, but is it safe to assume this industrial and home care will be the growing fast? Will be the one growing the fastest among the 5? For you?
No, actually, I think the 4 have. Yeah, the 4 have
equally good potential.
Equally good potential, yes.
Okay. Is your current floor space is about 500,000? Is that correct?
Yeah.
And with this new land buying for this year, what kind of floor space do you anticipate to increase?
For this year, I don't think we will be starting anything. But
yeah, I mean next year.
yeah, in the near future, I think perhaps another 10 to 20% increase in terms of floor space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this land, you guys haven't made a decision to buy it, right? Or you have already made a decision?
We have.
Okay.
Yeah.
And typically take about 1 year to get the space ready for production?
Yeah, 1 to 2 years. Now things are rather slow because of the pandemic.
Okay.
We're still in the process of doing all the documentation.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we have a question from the floor from Nixon from Kenanga. Would you be able to share the outstanding order book or contract value, and how long would it take to exhaust this contract value or order book? What's your current order book?
I mean, we have a pipeline of orders. Bear in mind, our business and many of the contract manufacturing business is PO based. So I can't put a figure to what the order book or contract book is, but I think for us, the most are with us. The manufacturing capability are with us. If global demand remains the same, then or increase, then we stand to benefit from that.
Okay. Then would the business model as a contract manufacturer be adopting a cost plus model and able to pass on rising costs to customers?
Rising costs, I think it has been talked about a lot in the media and a lot of other similar business. Yes, we are able to pass on certain costs to customers, quite quickly for many of these customers, especially on raw material costs. But indirect costs like labor increases, or certain costs like unexpected expenses from, say, COVID and things like that. Those of course we can't.
Okay. Then another follow-up question is, the metal stamping was about 25% of your revenue. So out of the 75% in plastic molding and box build, what is the breakdown in terms of the industry?
The breakdown will be also industrial, home and lifestyle, medical, and audio.
So that constitute the remaining 75% in the...
Yeah, so metal stamping is not just industrial.
Yep.
It also has customers from across the segments like medical and so on and so forth. So of the 75 molding side, the other facilities, they do also have almost similar percentages.
Okay. Then another question would be, is there any difference in margins between both metal stamping and plastic molding business?
Margins are quite similar.
Margins are quite similar.
Yeah, quite similar.
Okay. Then situation in Vietnam, how did it impact the overall group business, and is it targeting to be profitable soon?
We are targeting to be profitable all the time. Obviously, if for those who have seen the financial result over the last couple of years, Vietnam has been a challenge for us. We have done quite a lot of improvement activities to bring Vietnam to where it is today. But otherwise, I think those activities, similar to all the initiatives that we undertake in our Malaysian factories, hopefully start to bear fruit this year.
Okay. Any further question from the floor? I think maybe a question from me, right? The company has not paid any dividends thus far. Does the company expect to start paying dividend in view that your financial results are improving?
I think yes. If you charted draw the line back towards the history since myself and Luis came in, we have actually plowed everything back into the capex and operational. So there is a little bit of better scale now, short of having the ambition to buy a 200,000 square foot piece of land and build a freaking big factory out there. I think most of our capex will be incremental in nature. So with that and COVID permitting, I think you know, the financial leveraging is getting a little bit more tenable, you know, and the risk seems to have been a little bit decreased. But again, as I said, it is very dependent on what's going on with the world, with COVID and all this kind of stuff, you know. Yes, the ambition is for us to be able to pay some dividend. You know, we will always be a growth stock, a growth company, and rather than an income company. But having been the major shareholder for 6 years and I haven't got any dividend, and if you check the annual report on very small, Luis and myself are on relatively small salary, so we would love to have some dividend as well. But you know, that's our ambition, to be able to do that. Yeah.
So any M&A exercises that you are exploring at the moment, apart from your land expansion, plant expansion?
I think there's none on hand, you know, but you know, we are always contemplating a bit more land, a little bit more incremental capacity everywhere. I mean, you know, everything needs the unfortunate part of our business is that we need to have the fixed asset to grow the sales, and we are not in such a fortunate position to be able to have you know, very non-capital intensive sales driven growth. You know, the nature of our business.
Yep. Okay, there's a question from Ge-Shen. Do you provide PCBA services? If not, how critical is it to grow your business, and when do you intend to close this gap?
It's always good to have PCBA as an added capability. I think, you know, as I was saying, you know, we are a contract manufacturer offering technology-driven manufacturing for our customers. So, you know, having PCBA, of course, will add on to our suite of capabilities, and that will help us to grow and attract a certain kind of customers. How critical is it? I think, you know, at this moment, we source PCBA from other suppliers. Certain customers want us to have PCBA in-house. Certain customers are okay that we source it outside. I would say it will be a very nice capability to have if we have the opportunity to do it. But to go out and start one I don't think is feasible at this moment.
Okay. And how many foreign workers do you have out of your workforce?
In Malaysia, in terms of foreign worker, is something like 50%. Okay, 50% to 60%, or something like that. Yeah, so we do rely on certain foreign workers. Okay.
Any hiring issue given the current lockdown?
Yeah, hiring is an issue. Getting talents, getting technical people is a challenge. It's not business as usual. So we just have to adapt and be innovative in how we attract certain talents and certain technical people to join us.
Okay. Thanks, Luis. And there's another follow-up question from Nixon on Kenanga. When you say there is a pipeline of projects you're looking at, would current lockdown situation deter the securing of contracts? How often do you get PO and for how long usually?
Is there a pipeline of projects that we are looking at? Would deter or secure contracts? Will deter? I think for customers that we have had that conversations or customers that we get referred, those are relatively easier. I think business development is always a process where we need to continuously engage the potential customer. In a typical business development process, obviously there's the pitching at the very early on. Cold calling has, of course, a very low potential for success. So it's a numbers game. You have to, to secure one customer, you need to, for example, pitch to 100 person or 1,000 person or 10,000 persons. So that process needs to continue on. I think as Shaun mentioned just now also, traditionally or historically we go to trade fairs and things like that. Those obviously then increase our profile again, and we potentially meet somebody who can be a very good customers. So yeah, the current lockdown situation does provide certain challenges for us to secure new customers. Also, it's a challenge for people to come to Malaysia because of the lockdown. So, if they want to come and visit us or audit us, it's a bit more challenging. How often do we get PO? I think, for customers that we have already secured, PO can come on a daily basis depending on the product.
Oh, okay. Then another question from Jen Yuan on the chat room. What would you think is the biggest difficulty in expanding capacities currently, I think? For instance, PCBA, more on talent or funding?
All of the above.
All of the above.
Yeah, I think expanding capabilities is a challenge. We need certain skill sets, and we need to be able to get the right skill sets for ourselves. Funding, of course, funding is not unlimited. So, I think as Shaun was saying, if there are specific reasons for and impactful investments or capex that we want to do, it's always good opportunity to discuss.
Okay. All right. Perhaps a last question from the floor, if there's any. Okay, if there's none, maybe is there any closing remark or something you want the investment community to take away? Shaun or Louis, you want to round up? Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's nice to see that a small cap company like us managed to hold an audience of 85 people for more than an hour.
Yeah.
A lot of you guys are very time hungry people, and I'd like to thank you, all of you, for attending this our debut briefing. I think manufacturing in Malaysia as a general concept is coming on as a renaissance, and there are various people at various stages of growth, of expansion, of exciting capabilities. Obviously for quite a lot of you follow the semiconductor sector, and that is really credit to all of those people in that sector who have done very well. There are also people who have done very well in our more or less what I would call volume business, industry agnostic agnostic manufacturing capability business. And I think, you know, we live in challenging times, we live in exciting times, and it's always the marriage of risk against the opportunities. And I save for the pandemic, again, this pandemic is a really, really big outlier, elephant in the room. But the opportunities for manufacturing in Malaysia is never so bright, you know, compared to its history, not just recent history, but compared to its history. And so, you know, thank you all once again. I wish you luck. There are lots of little small companies like ourselves. And thank you very much, Ms. Jiwa, for taking us through this process as well. And thank you, Busa, for, you know, highlighting all these capable, if I can call ourselves capable companies below the radar screen.
Thank you very much, Shaun. And I mean, with that, on behalf of Ge-Shen and Bursa Malaysia, thank you everyone for attending Ge-Shen's corporate and Q2 result briefing. Stay safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shaun. Thanks, Luis.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.